Now for gear train adjustment, the last gear is what's actually tied to the pony brake, so normally this would be the stationary shaft. It's called for in a book, and for that simulation purposes, I would use this first. However, since it's a single shaft by itself, I tend to use one of the more intermediate shafts, which is the next one, and use this as my first stationary shaft. The whole purpose of the stationary shaft is you have a stationary shaft, then you'll line the other next shaft directly to it. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and tighten down shaft number 3 completely with a wrench, firmly in place, making sure that it's as parallel to the edge of the table as possible for layout. And then once I do that, I'm going to reference shaft 4 to shaft 3 by using a straight edge alignment, to line off the faces so that they have all the contact flush against this face, flush against that face. When I have that, then I'll be able to lock down shaft 4. So I'll proceed to go ahead and lock down shaft 3 first. Now I've locked down shaft 3, which still largely turns by itself. I move shaft 4 over till the point where when I turn shaft 3, shaft 4 turns, meshes the teeth together, and to eliminate or reduce backlash, of course, try to move it as close as possible. And then I use my straight edge to align the 2 gear faces in line. That means flush against it, not cocked. You can see a little bit of cocking there, I do. But I want it straight against it, in position. And once I have the face lined up against it, freeze in place. And now I'll tighten down shaft 4. Now with shafts 4 and 3 locked in, I now take shaft 2 and slide it into place. Takes a little bit of work here. And now I do the same thing I did with shaft 4. I work to align this with a straight edge. Off the shaft 2, off the gear teeth of shaft 2, align it up, and shaft 3, make sure it's flat against and flush against both faces, this face and also this face. Once I have that, then these are in parallel and they're lined up, and now I proceed to lock in shaft 2. Now I still have shaft 1 to bring into alignment, so I push that in and try to align this face, or actually this edge face on shaft 2. You can barely see the finger. The gear teeth side over against this face of shaft 1 with a straight edge, right to the point where this actually aligns with shaft 3. And once I have that in place, I go ahead and lock down shaft 1. Now my gear assembly is finished, and I'm ready to proceed with going ahead and putting on the motor, Lovejoy, lining up with shaft 1, and after that we will proceed with the rest of the skill, which is checking out for RPM versus gear ratio.